Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Mason Jackson, welcome to ATV Talk. How are you, young man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, I know how busy you are. Things have been crazy for both of us. I really appreciate you making the time for me.
Yeah, no problem. It's been a rough few months, but hopefully I get down to Deckers and that all goes away. I can just focus on training.
You like riding down at Deckers?
Yeah, I really like riding down to Deckers.
Nice. Where exactly do you train if you're not going to Deckers?
So last year I went to Ralph Rodriguez's house, Filthy Co, my gear sponsor, and
Mhm.
I was down there at his house for 2 weeks, trained at his gym, rode just a bunch of different California tracks on his quad. We rented a dirt bike from his buddy, and I did some cross training on tracks that wouldn't allow quads. And then after that, that was the first 2 weeks of January. And then after that, I went to Deckers, and I was there from as soon as I got there, mid-January till Daytona. And I just stayed down there training in the gym and whatever else I can do, biking, rowing. I kind of messed up last year. I took the dirt bike out first and blew my knee out the first lap on the track.
Oh,
And so I spent the pretty much the first 3 weeks leading up to Daytona just trying to work around my knee and get that as strong and healthy as possible because it's been on its last string for quite a while.
so you're nursing a knee injury for a prolonged period of time?
Yeah, I did it 2 years ago, right before the season started. I was snowboarding in my backyard and I came off the snowboard and stuck my leg out and it went up around behind me and tore my ACL and partially tore my MCL. Tried to ride out the season on it, cased the triple at High Point, the uphill one before the finish, and that shredded the meniscus. And that was the 22 season over. And then I just pretty much I've sat back, watched the whole year, and came back stronger for 2023.
And you came back and dominated in 23, didn't you?
Yeah, and that was still with the surgery went good, and I don't really know which injury afterwards re-injured it, but there's quite a few tweaks that got it pretty bad again, and I'm surviving on it, but they should be stronger for what we're doing.
You wear knee braces as well?
Just the one. I have a custom fit Donjoy from just the doctors came in and custom fit it for me when I first did it, but I need a new one because it's pretty worn, beat.
Have you ever talked to any of the brace manufacturers about, different versions of those knee braces that you could use?
I think Donjoy for what I'm doing, and because I tried the Liat X frame knee braces and they were all right. They just didn't. I don't know if they didn't fit me right or if my knee was too swollen or something. But that custom fit one slides right on and it just straps in the perfect spot and it really does help a lot. I can't ride without it.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, before we get into your 23 season and your 24 season, let's talk a little bit about, who you are, where you come from, and how long you've been racing.
Yeah, I was born in Battle Creek, Michigan, 18 years ago, and my dad got me into quads from, you know, as long as I can remember. He was in the quad scene. He was back and forth between like he did locals, a few national races, and then the freestyle. And he messed himself up pretty good on the freestyle, but it was always fun growing up and just I mean, I always had something to ride, whether it was a beat up dirt bike or some sort of quad or a pit bike, something. I've always been just beating the crap out of something with a motor. And it's been fun. My buddy lives 10 minutes down the road. I ride over to his house on pit bikes. We go mess around just in the back roads. And uh,
You're always riding. When was your first national?
National. Oh, I want to say our first full season was 2014, and I want to say we went to one in 2013 to test out the waters. But the first full season was 2014 on the 50s, on 50 CVT and 50 Open. They're the good days, but sucked working on them.
Right, right. So that's 8 years old ish when you started racing the nationals. And um, let's go back a little bit into your amateur career, if you don't mind. I caught up with you starting to see your name roughly in the 2021 season where I was seeing it in the results. When did you go into the pro am class and the pro sport class full time? Was it in 22 or was it in 21?
22, 21 was my last year on 250s, and then 22 was supposed to be a 450A in pro sport. And
Oh,
I blew my knee out and then got to high point and my season was over. And so I took that whole year off, just watched everybody. And then, so going into 2023, it was, we can do A class in pro sport again, which my first 2, 3 races in A class, I did pretty good. I did better than I thought. And I did better than I thought in pro sport too. It was a big confidence booster, at least for the first 3 races. And then I did that. But first,
in
I
23,
lost.
pro am and pro sport, right?
Yeah, 23, we made that decision to go up to pro sport and pro am and skip A. And it is probably one of the better decisions we made because I did, really good. And I had a great time that whole season. And I feel like it's definitely important to have fun while you're racing because if you're not having any fun, there's really no point in doing it.
What do
And
you think the key was to coming out and being so dominant in a class, in the two classes that I think are the most exciting because they're the most stacked? Anybody can win. There's 15 guys that can win that race.
yeah, I always do bad at Daytona. We went to Daytona 2023. I did that. It always just kind of brings my confidence down a little bit because I hate to play it. Just, I never do good there. And then I come into Gatorback on the hybrid because I was still on the hybrid and I'm just sitting on the gate for this Pro Sport Moto 1. And I just thought to myself, I'm supposed to be here. This is my class and I'm where I should be. And I don't know what clicked right there, but something clicked and I felt like I should have been there. And every race after that, I just put myself where I thought I should be. And it's easier said than done, but
That was out
I don't
front.
it something with the mindset definitely clicked for me on the gate in the beginning of the 2023 season.
That's awesome. When did you go full time YFZ 450R?
The next race, it was Underground 2023. Tim had a rental YFZ and he was telling me because I snapped from training at Deckers until Gatorback, I snapped 3 frames in half on the TRX and it just wasn't going to work. Doing a whole season on those 2 frames there wasn't going to work out. So after Gatorback, he sent us home with his Yamaha, told me to ride it. And we went back to our local track at Battle Creek Motorcycle Club. We started riding and I'd do a moto on the hybrid and then I'd do a moto on the Yamaha and my dad would time me. And I started getting pretty close to my hybrid times on the Yamaha. And I didn't feel as good on it, but it soaked up the bumps better. And me being smaller, it really helps. Anything in the rear helps, especially on a quad. And so I just noticed the rear end going through the roller sections and slowly things started clicking on the Yamaha. And then I raced it at Underground. And I want to say I won Pro Sport. No, I won Pro Am second in Pro Sport on the Yamaha.
On your
And what?
On the debut, the first time you ever brought it out.
Yep.
That's freaking pretty good.
Tim still takes credit because I had his Nerf nets in that said Tim Detling 72 on them. So we left those on all year so he could take a little credit. But
Uh,
no,
uh,
it was a really good. That was one of the greatest seasons I think. These last two seasons I think have been my two best seasons, having fun wise and results wise. It just couldn't have went any better.
the domination in the Pro-Am class in 23 was kind of unheard of. Max Lindquist had a good run as well. Do you think that that's going to roll over because you did so well in Pro-Am that you're going to be able to roll into the pro class and do as well?
It's different for everybody, and part of it I feel like it's a mindset thing. Like you're on the gate with fastest guys in the world, it does get in your head a little bit, and you got to figure out a way to shut it out. And it's hard to shut it out sometimes, and sometimes I'm sitting on the line. That's all I can think about is I'm on the line with the fastest guys in the world right now, and the pressure's on. And I feel like pro am makes pro feel a little easier, and pro makes pro am feel a little easier. They go hand in hand. I go from racing two 20-minute motos on Saturday and then to two 13 plus twos on Sunday. And so I'm not going for as long. I can push a little harder in the beginning part of pro am, but the pressure's off. So it's just like, I don't know. There's something about the pressure for me. I try to block it out, but it's definitely, it sits in the back of my head.
Do you think, and I'm not making this as an issue, but do you think that has something to do with maybe age and the fact that you're still, getting yourself accustomed to being in the pro class?
For sure. I mean, I'm still young and dumb. I make dumb mistakes quite a bit. It's a given. You live and you learn.
Right.
I've had I think more crashes this year than ever. Like more crashes this year than I've had in my lifetime of
You
actually racing. It
trying to go
was,
faster?
yeah, just trying to find every little millisecond on the track. It bites you back sometimes.
Yeah. What was it like racing with Kevin Sarr?
He is one of the cleanest, best racers. He'll definitely stick a tire in there. He'll let you know he's there, but he one of the cleanest people I've ever raced. I love racing Kevin.
You know,
And
the Europeans say, I apologize for interrupting you, that every American they race against is super aggressive.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think
Yeah,
we're
most
aggressive or just want to win?
yeah, a little of both. I mean,
Well,
Joel's not aggressive until he has to be.
right,
Unless if he has to be aggressive, he's gonna punch you out of the way. But until then, he's gonna get around you as clean as he can.
right.
And Kevin is he will figure out a way to get around you clean if you're wearing down. And that's one thing I feel like he usually had over me is it just I know he got tired, but it never when we're on the track, it never seemed like he got tired. He's always behind me. He's always right there. He's always just that much more consistent right behind me, just waiting for that one mistake. And as soon as I made it, he's right there and he'll pass you clean every time.
You think that might be an age thing?
It, I don't know. There's I've raced some pretty aggressive people. I don't really think it's an age thing. Really. I mean, sometimes it is. Get a little wiser. A lot of
Well, what I'm maybe I said that wrong. With him having a little bit more experience, he's a little more patient, waits for the opening.
yes, yeah,
That's what I
yep,
meant to say. That's what I meant
yeah.
to say. Uh,
No, for sure. He definitely has a little bit more patience than a lot of people do, including me, and it pays off in the end.
Explain what is the hurry in your mind and your thoughts when you're, let's say you're in third or fourth and you're trying to get up front. What's the rush?
single corner, you're behind somebody, the person that's in front of both of you is getting away. Uh, It's always a rush. Even when you're out front, it's still you're running for your life.
So at 0 point for you, it's no difference. If you're in third, you're pushing just as hard as if you were in the lead.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there at any point when you're in the lead when you can say, I can back off now?
Yeah, I'll definitely have Tim. There's been a few times Tim's on the side just doing this, just pointing, telling me to be smart because I get a little carried away sometimes when I get in a zone and I just start going and everything else just kind of drowns out and dims out around me and I'm just focused on what's in front. And sometimes I don't realize that somebody made a mistake and I have a few extra seconds. I don't need to go 100% right here. And that's where the more experience comes in. The longer I'm doing it, the more I realize that you can pace yourself a little bit more. You don't have to be completely explosive right there on the spot and make those passes. Like you can chill out for a second and be okay, especially in pro when you have those extra 7-8 minutes in the race. I want to say it's right now, probably 5-6 minutes extra. But
Was it a shock to the system when you went out and rode that first pro moto? Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs.
yeah, Daytona still didn't really feel real. That was I didn't do good either. So that was I ended up crashing and blowing my knee out and getting stuck all in the same moto. So it was yeah, terrible hole shot. I was pretty far back, and then I was coming around. I hit a roller right after the start weird, and I stuck my leg out and my knee folded, and I whatever crunched inside of it crunched, and I just kind of kicked it back out straight and kept going. The adrenaline usually gets me through those, but it still takes me a second to regroup. And then immediately after, when I'm regrouping, I hit a rut weird, go off the track into a mud hole, get back on the track, and I do a few more laps, make the passes back that I lost. And then I hit there's a sand section in the middle, split lane, and I hit a bump weird and got stuck in the middle of the split, like right in the middle of the split. I was G'd out, just stuck. And I was stuck really good. I tried to hold it wide open, get out of it, and I just dug myself a deeper hole. I had to get off. I think Joel passed me. Joel passed me twice when I was getting my quad unstuck. And then
Wow.
after that, it was just my knee hurt. I was done. Yeah, the Daytona's never a good time for me, but hopefully
So
2025.
going into Daytona in 2025, how are you going to get the mind ready for that event?
Just gonna do what I normally do, train as hard as I can, ride as much as I can, and have patience at Daytona. I think that's the key at Daytona is just to be patient and not rush. Because as soon as I rush, it goes bad.
That's a good way to look at it, because the smaller, tighter track, something will open up. You just have to be prepared for it.
Yes. I, did you watch the Pro Sport Moto this last time at Daytona?
No, I didn't. I turned it on after.
Was, I think, one of the most exciting races I've ever watched in my life. From, I mean, there's people from dead last to front, from front to dead last. Everybody was mixing around, passing, getting stuck. It was, and that's the main reason I don't like Daytona is because it's such a one line. Like even if it was one line, it's okay, but then it gets so deep to where you're in a rut and the outside tire because we run at the same day as vintage bikes. So the bikes all take one rut and they dig out the one outside rut. And then you're coming into this corner that you're already G'd out in, you're off camber, and then you have people tapping you in the back because it's a tight 180 and it's just, I don't know. I like the more open tracks, the ones with jumps.
You're an outdoor guy,
I'm a jump person. I
really.
like air.
So what's your favorite track then?
Bud's Creek is top three. Um, Iron Man's top three, and Briarcliff's working its way up there. Every single year, I like Briarcliff more and more.
But it's not
Uh,
a big jump track, is it? A big air track, is it? That's got that one big jump in the
yeah,
middle.
it's got big in the middle. It's just more of a wide open track. It's more high speed, hard packed. I like the hard pack tracks on the quad, but on the dirt bike, I'm strictly a sand person. If I get in hard packed on the dirt bike, I'm an actual sea rider on the dirt bike
What's the difference? Why do you like the sand on a dirt bike so much?
because I can make a mistake and still be able to throttle out of it. Like when you slam into a rut, usually with the sand you can blow through the rut and still be okay. Whereas the hard packed, I'll hit a rut, bounce off, and then skip after the corner because that suspension on that Husqvarna has been on there for 2 years and it hasn't been serviced. And something that hasn't been serviced with 2 years of me on it
It's done.
it's done. All the oil's out of those forks.
Well, you better get them serviced.
I need to.
Oh man, that's so you do a lot of cross training then.
Yeah.
Beings that, and I'm not using this as a negative for you, beings that you're young and obviously very strong, your training style that you're going with, is it mostly based on being on a machine, whether it be an ATV or a motorcycle?
Can you rephrase that?
Um, when I talk to other guys and other pros about their training regimens, they mix it up whether they're riding or working out in the gym. Do you spend most of your time on the back of a machine, or are you mixing in, cycling and gym time?
The only two cardio exercises that I stick to is my biking and rowing. Those are my two main cardio for the winter, and then just riding at Deckers.
When you say biking, road bike?
Mountain bike on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, mountain bike wherever. I got a old Trek Marlin 6, and that thing's got so many miles on it. We got an old military base that got turned into a state park about 20 minutes from my house, and they have about 20 miles worth of trails. And
Okay.
me and my buddy used to go out there last year. It was about every day. We'd just go out there and bike 20 miles a day. And that helped a lot. But my knee's been a little worse and I've been slacking on it. So need to get back to it.
Yeah. What's the weather like at home right now?
Snowy.
Does-
I can't do anything.
So there's no training outside in the snow, period.
Not really. I just pouring concrete and that's about it.
How do you pour concrete in the snow?
It's not fun.
I did hear you had a concrete job. But that's good, strong, hard work. It keeps you exercised or your blood flowing and you're working muscles, so you're not just sitting on the couch.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like a workout of its own. Like I'm still, if I've been slacking a little bit, I'll definitely work a little harder. Not that I don't work hard, but you can definitely use work as training, especially concrete. A lot of that grip strength is transversible. It goes
Really?
over. Yeah,
And how did you get into working in the concrete industry?
it's concrete business.
Pardon?
Owns a concrete company.
Oh, so you work for your dad?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm sure he helps you out with the racing as well. All right.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome stuff, man. When you look back at 2024, did you see a number five in your future at that point when the season started?
What do you mean? Like,
You got fifth in points, so technically you earned the number five.
yeah, I talked to Harv and Joe Messina about it, and unless I get written permission, can't get the number. So written permission from Cody, or he has to not run the series for 2 years. So
Oh, but what about what I meant by that is earning that top five spot your rookie season in the pro class.
yeah, it still feels unreal. I
Where did you think you were going to come out?
I mean, I had my goal as a top five, but that's a goal. Like I was hoping to achieve that, wasn't quite expecting it. And then I was hoping to finish right around sixth, eighth. That was my goal. That was my goal that I set for myself. And it does suck under the circumstances that there was a lot of pros out on injury this year that would have been right there if not in front of me, which does suck. But I mean, it doesn't suck. It, sorry, it does suck that they're injured. It just, I wish the circumstances weren't like that.
Right. You wanted to go race those guys head to head and
Yeah,
earn a
I'd
spot
like
with
to
them.
do it straight up instead of they were out, which I mean, we'll see next year, 2025.
Yeah, 2025, you got Chad Wienen back, you got Nick Janusa back, you got Rastrelli back. Am I missing somebody?
Wesley Wolf, full season back.
Yeah,
Um,
he missed
Adam,
one.
I think, is going to be doing his full season. Adam hasn't really, he's had some pretty bad luck with injuries, so he's always on and off too. Um, I don't think you're missing anybody else.
It's gonna
No.
be it's gonna be an exciting year.
Oh, and Zach Decker, he'll be
Yeah.
back.
How do you forget Zach?
Yeah, my bad, Zach.
Dude, that guy was flying when he got injured.
Yeah, yeah,
Unbelievable.
that
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 there is
didn't happen because
go ahead, I'm sorry.
he would have done awesome this year. Absolutely awesome if
I
he
think
didn't have those injuries. But
I really think that Zach, if he can stay healthy, is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Is he going to go out and beat Joel? Only Zach knows, really, because to go out and beat Joel, you have to have a totally different mindset. And, it's kind of like getting in the ring with Mike Tyson. Everybody can talk a lot of crap until you get hit in the face. And Joel Hetrick doesn't care. He's gonna beat you. You
yeah,
know.
no, Joel will find a way somehow. Don't matter how small the gap is, he'll make it work.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Is that your goal for 2025 is to go out, put yourself on the top of the box?
Sure hope so. I'm
Nice.
gonna do everything in my power to make it happen.
Nice. Do you talk to Tim quite a bit about what the upcoming season's going to be and some of your new changes or if there are new changes for your 2025 season?
think there's really much changes. I think we got pretty much the same people and same program, same everything, I think, as far as I know.
He doesn't. He didn't. There was just no changes. Same tires, same shocks, same
Yeah.
motor package, everything like that.
Yeah.
That's
As far
good.
as I know. I don't know. I felt great on the machine the entire year. I didn't really feel like there was much that could have been changed for the better. Just, I mean, myself, I needed to work on the endurance mainly. That was my main issue.
As
Sorry
far
about the dogs.
What was that?
Sorry about the dogs. I don't know if you can hear them, but they might not be quiet for the next 5 minutes. I
I
might have to
couldn't.
go somewhere else.
I couldn't hear. I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, they're being loud.
Yeah, I can't hear him. That's okay. That's totally okay. As long as you can hear me.
Yeah.
When you, I could hear that.
Yeah. You might have heard that one.
That's totally okay. Anything like that's in here, my daughter will listen to it and edit it out. So back to my question.
Sorry about that.
That's totally okay. When you were working on your endurance, was the transition time from 2023 to 2024 just the length of the moto is what was causing you to be tired or to get more tired? And was it at the end of the moto?
It was, I almost felt like I had a little better endurance in 2023. If I'm being honest. I did a little more to keep myself in shape this last year. I just haven't, I've been pouring so much concrete working. I haven't really, between that and just, I mean, if we would have a day off work, it'd be a rain day to where we can't go ride. So I wouldn't have anything to do. And between everything that happened, I just really didn't get that much ride time in between the nationals this last season. So I'm hoping that changes and I get more ride time this next year.
Does the concrete industry slow down in January? Is that one of the reasons why you go to Deckers?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like in Michigan, it seems like every year it gets like the snow gets pushed back another week or two. And we usually slows down mid to end of December. It really slows down. We haven't been doing as much, but it's still more than I want to do. When we're not pouring concrete, we're doing some work around the house or some little fixer upper project, or I'm helping somebody else, or it's, yeah.
You got to work, man. I get it. I get it. I'm a workaholic myself. I'm 7 days a week, whether I'm doing this or working building ATVs. That's just there's nothing better. I mean, I'm not a home project guy. That's a rough one for me. You know,
Yeah.
after you get to build ATVs, what else can you go do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We just redid our bathroom and that sucked.
I get it, man. I don't mean to be laughing like that, but man, it's just not the
I can
funnest.
destroy things really good, really easily, but putting it back together is the harder part for me. And
It
that,
takes
that
longer.
really sucks.
Right, right. What's it like with your sister being in the WMX? So you guys are both considered to be in the pro class. How does that work out for the family?
It's really cool. I know last year it was, I don't know, I was proud because I mean, it's her and Kenzie are the top two, and they just watching them go around the track in WMX is nuts. Like her and Kenzie are incredible at what they do, and it does suck that my sister I think is going to be focusing more on volleyball this next year. So I'm not sure if she's gonna. I'm not really even sure what she's doing. If she plans on just going to a few, doing the full season, doing none of them. I'm not really sure right now, but she wants to focus more on that and have less of a chance of getting injured for the volleyball season. So she's
Wow.
kind of doesn't know what she's doing right now.
Man,
So
that's a blow to the WMX. She's one of the ones that you're watching for, the upcoming year to progress.
yeah. No,
Man,
I was excited to see how this next season would go because I thought she'd have a pretty good shot at getting Kenzie, but Kenzie's a different animal on a quad too. That's
she's fast.
yeah,
She's fast.
definitely helps going to race A class, and the B class last year helped her a lot too. I almost think the B class last year helped her more than A class this year.
Do you think that it's off topic? We're supposed to be talking about you, but do you think that the progression for a Kinsey or your sister or one of the other female athletes, do you think that they can get to where they could ride the pro sport or the pro am class?
Yeah, I just know that Kenzie doesn't really ride that much because she's going to college in Ohio. She doesn't really ride that much, and my sister too. Like my sister will ride maybe once in between a national, maybe, and that's good enough. I don't know how she does it, but they go out and they do that with barely training at all. I could only imagine what they do if they were actually training how some of us train in the off season. I think they would do phenomenal. But
Wow. Yeah.
there's other stuff going on. There's college, other sports, life.
And that's crazy that they don't train that much. I knew Kenzie didn't ride as often as she, but your sister, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When did you graduate high school?
Um, technically last year, well, technically this year still, but I did online and I got done pretty much a year early. I didn't get my diploma until June ish, but I graduated. I was done a whole year before that.
You just blew through your classes ahead of time?
Yeah,
Makes it easier not having to go to school.
way better. So much better.
Do you plan on going to college?
At the moment, no. I told myself I wasn't going back.
I get it. I get it. I didn't go to college either. I'm not saying that it's not a great thing for some people, but it just didn't fit in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah. No, I couldn't see myself sitting there and actually doing a college class. I did. I went to right up until I left, I was going to a like a is the Calhoun area CACC Calhoun Area Career Center, and it was like a tech center. You pretty much I was in aviation, and I took one college course for that, and no, not doing it. I made it through. I passed, but I was done after that.
Not where you want to see yourself, right?
No, I could definitely get my pilot's license someday. Like I'd go back for aviation. I just didn't really. I don't know. Schools really wasn't for me. So
I get it. Some people want to learn or some people want to work. I'm a worker. I'm not a sit in the classroom guy. It's
yep.
just we're rolling into 2025 here pretty quickly. And as we get ready for your sophomore season, you got pros coming back on the line that weren't there. Chad Weenan, we've talked about some of these guys. Expectation for that, when we sit and talk amongst the guys that are watching you guys race, there's an expectation from second to 10th, that group of rider, that's a heavy load for all of you because at any given point you could be in 10th and any given point you could be in second. What do you foresee to be some of the biggest obstacles for you to get in the front of that group?
think really the three main things is starts. You got to have your starts down. If your starts isn't on point, you're not going to have even a slight chance. The difference of coming out of a whole shot in eighth compared to fourth is such a world of a difference, especially towards the end of the moto, because you had to spend that much more energy getting through those first three guys than if you would have just, whole shotted a little faster, a little better, and you would have been in front already. But you gotta, you wheelied here, pulled off to the left here a little bit, got off your straight line to the corner, and it can go bad really quick. And then you're working your way back up through a lot of people where you feel like you should have just, got a good start and that wouldn't have been an issue, but you didn't get a good start and now you're spending all of your energy trying to get around the field. And it's just, so starts, the mindset again, like it is a decent chunk of it. And oh, endurance really.
So
Because if you,
having a deeper gas tank so that you can go farther into the moto before you start feeling any type of fatigue.
yeah,
Turning the switch on for your brain to push out all the bad and focus on just succeeding, being the first guy into the turn, and then making it happen by getting in the turn quicker than everybody else. Now explain to me, how hard is it to get a whole shot in today's pro class?
I haven't gotten one, so I can't speak on that. I've gotten decently close. Trying to think of the best one came out of. There's a few that I think there's two that I was like top 3 to 5, and it's a pretty nerve-wracking. Just, I mean, you got to go 100% from the get-go. Like, there's no pacing yourself at the start. It's just like everybody's sprinting. You got to run for your life, and they're all so fast. It's nuts. Now we're gonna have JJ Launderville and Joey Norris coming up to pro, so it'll be cool to see them running with us too. I feel like they're both going to do really good.
That group of riders that we were just talking about is just getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
So if you're 10th, there's almost no way you're going to get into the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, you have to push so hard for just one position and then to maintain it without making any mistakes. Because as soon as you make that one little mistake in the corner, that's it. You got your position taken back. And now you spent all your energy getting around this guy to get passed right back. And sometimes it's a pretty, what's the word? It just brings you down a little bit, but it's racing. Mistakes happen. People have spots that they're faster than you, and you just get behind them and you learn.
When you're talking to me about mistakes and you were talking about that you're pushing for speed, are the mistakes coming because of a drop in focus or a drop in being, that you're physically fatigued?
Definitely the physically fatigued. And I never try to take the same line more than a few times a moto, unless it's obviously the dominant line, then that's the dominant line. But if there's a corner that both lines are pretty close, I'm always switching. Wherever the person in front of me goes, I'm going to the opposite line. Even if I do think it's a little slower, you can sometimes make it work. And that's the mindset you need. You can't follow people. You're not going to pass somebody by following them.
Right.
You have to be everywhere, trying every different little thing and adding a little fatigue on top of that. You hit a little spot you didn't expect, a little bump or a little dip, and then your hand blows off, and then I mean, sometimes it can be a second and a half where your hand blows off and you're fumbling to get everything back in order. And it just, then you get into a panic mode and you get a little adrenaline spike because you had a close moment and it wears you out quicker. And it's just a really, you got to be as calm as possible most of the time and just relax. And that's the main thing I learned this year is you just got to relax sometimes.
And how do you, in something that's so chaotic and so crazy, you talk to me about your mental status and how you're getting yourself ready on the starting line. When you're out in all of that chaos, how do you keep yourself calm? Are you ready to be captivated by one of nature's masterpieces? Discover the breathtaking beauty of Antelope Slot Canyon, a natural wonder in Page, Arizona. Join us on a guided tour and immerse yourself in the mystical light beams, rich colors, and serene landscapes. With tours at prime sunbeam hours, experience photographer's paradise and capture memories that will last a lifetime. Comfortable shoes, a camera, and a smile are all you need for this adventure. Book your journey today at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and let the canyon enchant you. Please visit us now, antelopeslotcanyon.com, for more details.
It just is really as soon as the gate drops, I just get into a zone. I'm I'm pretty calm until a close call happens, and then heart rate spikes and get a little adrenaline rush. But I don't. It's just I've been doing it for so long. It's just kind of a second instinct. I'm just that is my calm space normally. When I get on anything and just go for a ride, it usually calms me down. So that's already my calm space to begin with, and that yeah, usually find it easier pushing in an area I'm comfortable being in. And, uh,
Is it easier for you? You were talking about the style of tracks out there, you know, like Iron Man. When you go there, that's it. That track to me seems like it'd probably be one of the funnest courses you could ride. Doesn't seem to rut up too bad. You know, it always seems to have a great line choice, and it seems to be pretty fast at the same time. Is it easier to stay calm when you're on that track versus something more like Daytona where it's deeper sand? Maybe it's just not as favorable for multiple lines, so on and so forth.
I think the main thing I look for is like a big like a break jump, like Bigfoot at Briarcliff. That's my break jump. Like you'll be the rest of the 90% of the track, you're pushing, 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 have no break, and then you hit that one jump to where you can just let go. You're not letting go, but your hands are still on the bars, but you're just relaxed right there. And any any track with a big jump that I can just kind of let go a little bit in the air and recoup for a second is something that plays into how I ride. When something like Daytona, it's a turn track the entire time, and you don't get any breaks, especially like it was 2022 with that whoop section. I mean, I'm going up. You hit the 90% of the rest of the track, and it's taking everything out of you. It's a straight turn track, but you still have to save as much energy as you can through the 90% of the track just for the whoops. And I feel like I had a little disadvantage there because I was on the Honda and it didn't handle them as good as the Yamahas were. So I was getting thrown around a lot more than other people were. But still, I'd save up all of my energy on a turn track just to waste it in the rollers and usually lose a few seconds anyways because I couldn't figure out those whoops. But
Well, I didn't see that coming. The hybrid Honda, was it in a Walsh chassis or a stock chassis?
So we had the first 250 that we ever built was a TRX frame, and we put a KTM 250 motor in it. And we were running those. And then we bought Lane Baird's. It was a full custom JB with a TRX 450 in it. And that thing was sweet. It had all the, like, everything was rubber mounted on it because the KTMs are bad for vibration. So it had all the rubber mounts on it. It was like the frame was built around the motor. I think Fords were the ones that originally started the KTM JB hybrids. I mean, JB built them, but Fords, I think, were the first ones that wanted something like that built. I think there's only 4 of them made. We got one, and I think Ford's got the other 3. I'm pretty sure. Bryce had one, Cody had one, and I don't know what the other one was. And then Boob's got one, which we bought off them. So there's only, I think, 4 of those JB KTM hybrids out there. And we got one of them still. It's still for sale, but that is one of the sweetest, smoothest, fastest quads I've ever rode.
Wow. If you had a chance for the production rule to go away in the pro class, would you be for it or against it?
Completely for no production rule, but I feel like if I could, I'm not saying I would still be, but if I could, I might still be riding hybrid because I've never been more comfortable on anything. I could still have a faster lap time on the Yamaha, but I will still be more comfortable on my hybrid. Now, I don't know if that's just because, I mean, I've been riding Hondas since really like 2019. I think I got my first one. So I have more time on a Honda than I do a Yamaha. But still, I'd really like the Honda frame. I think if it had a better motor in it, like if Honda made a TRX with a CRF motor in it, I'd buy one.
Nice. You don't hear that very often. You think that there's technology out there to make the Honda work as good as the Yamaha?
Yeah.
I mean, for so many years, it did work well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was just as dominant as the Yamaha is now back in its day. Back when it was most popular, it was all Hondas. It wasn't all Hondas, but it was mostly Hondas, just like it's mostly Yamahas today. It seems like every few years there's a popular brand that takes over. That just happens to have been Yamaha for the past too many. But
Well,
I
there's
like
nothing
them.
out there.
Yeah, nobody else makes anything. KTM stopped, Suzuki stopped, Can-Am stopped, Honda stopped, Kawasaki stopped.
Polaris stopped.
Polaris need at least one of them back.
Yeah,
I
I
just
agree.
really like it to be Honda.
There's a lot of Honda fans out there that are telling me the same thing. And you know, if you look at what Honda is doing in the world of motorsports, they don't care. They're not.
Yeah,
It's
they don't.
it's not even on their radar. I don't know why, but it isn't. I think they would sell an astronomical amount of machines if they'd make it.
Feel like they'd sell a bunch for the first 2, 3 years, and then it'd start going back to what it was. And I think that's what they're afraid of. But if they, even if they just released just a 2024, they don't promise to do anything down the line, just a 2024, 2025, I think they'd get a lot of sales on it. I don't think they'd keep up for the first few months. And then I think they'd make a little too
Model,
much.
same
Have extra.
model or an upgrade?
What's that?
Same model as the 2024 or an upgrade?
I mean, it could be still the 2014 frame, just with a good CRF motor in it. So it's not, I just fuel injection. fuel injection changed a lot just about the performance of the motor. You don't have those little bogs in it because the jetting's a little off, or the temperature's a little warmer, colder than it's set for, so it runs weird. None of that. It's just smooth, way better.
You're liking the fuel injection, then I take it.
Yeah, I didn't really ever ride a full TRX. Like I've never actually had to. The last carbureted thing I raced was probably, I want to say, my Super Mini. So it was 2019. But yeah, we got my first 250 was Deckers. It was a JB with the KTM 250 in it. It was a mid-size frame, and I feel like the frame was too small for the motor, and the suspension was it felt weird. I was always uncomfortable on it. And then we bought that first TRX and put the motor that was in that in the TRX, and I just liked that 10 times better. But
Okay. And I mean, everybody's got to ride what they feel most comfortable with. Did you ever
yeah.
get to ride a Suzuki or a Kawasaki?
So at my graduation party, Blair was there, and I rode Blair's LTR, and that
Okay.
thing his LTR with the YZ motor in it,
Right.
and that thing was pretty wicked. I liked it.
Really.
I don't like how they feel in the air, but it hits the bumps and the corners so nice. Like
I'm glad you said that because you can only take so much information from one person. Nobody else had ridden it, and we only
yeah,
had his feedback.
yep.
So I was skeptical on if it was that good. And if you're saying it was that good, hopefully someone will follow suit.
No, it's for sure that good. I hate the way it handled. It feels so stable, like too stable in the air. Like I have that stock KTM, like the actual KTM quad, and that thing is super front end light, and you can move it around in the air really good. And then you go from something like the KTM to something like Blair's LTR, and it's not that his front end is light, he just has way more weight in the back. Like his gas tank isn't up, right around where you sit, it's under a seat. His gas tank's under a seat, the motor's in there, it's rolled something. So we're like, it still feels like a YFZ front end. Like it's not super light, super heavy, but there's just so much weight in the rear. You hook immediately coming out of the corners. Whatever rear shock you had on sucked up the bumps. Amazing. Like I could barely feel bumps that I was getting kicked on pretty good. And it just out of that YZ motor he has in it rips. So it was a really good combination. They have that hybrid figured out for sure. But
Nice. I wish he would come back and race.
yeah.
The fact that he couldn't, I feel bad for him. You mentioned the KTM quad. Did you like that machine? And you think it's something that could have excelled in the modern pro class?
Feel like it was more of a woods bike. Like it was more of a cross country GNCC quad because it doesn't have a linkage. So it makes the rear end feel really stiff and unresponsive. Like you'll hit a few bumps and it'll skip, 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 and then hit that one big one and just unload everything. And it's like I had no problem ripping it on Decker's main track, but as soon as I took it to like the sand track, I just like it. I don't know if the suspension was too soft or I wasn't used to it or something, but I just didn't really feel that comfortable on it. So I put it up. But usually, like, we'll take the KTM down to Deckers and I'll just ride that. Like, I'll go do a moto on the track on my Yamaha, and then I'll get back immediately after that moto and I'll hop on the KTM and I'll take it in the woods and I'll just go around the woods and do a few laps on their woods course. And that's just helps with the endurance. But I feel like even the KTM does better in the woods with the motocross setup than it does on the track.
Well, I've worked with a guy named Doug Eichner for years and years and years, and we rode just about everything there was to ride, from an LTR to TRX 450R to Lobo 250Rs, uh, the KFX 400 and the KFX 700. So Doug rode quite a few different machines, and he likes that KTM.
It is a good quad.
God, I hate that thing. I mean, I despise that machine. And I talked to Timmy Farr about it and Shane Hitt, and they loved it as well. There's other guys that I've had on the shows that thought they were really good quads also. I just I never meshed with it at all. Wasn't
Yeah.
something that I could.
I mean, that quad helped blow out my knee when I cased the triple high point to finish off my meniscus. That was the quad I was on.
Oh,
And so the not having a linkage kind of hurt me even worse in the moment, but I don't know. Every time I ride it, I have fun on it. Like, I like it. It's a good quad. I move it around in the air good. But just as soon as I try to make it go really fast, it usually don't like it.
maybe because it's not that good of a quad.
I rode it was a KTM 525 at Redbud for practice once, and that was nuts. That was a fast quad. Have you ever rode at 525?
Yes. Yes.
I like those.
I Yeah, it's just nothing that I really enjoyed, Have you got to ride two strokes?
Yeah, my dad's got a 250R.
Excellent, excellent. What mods is stock setup, or has it got some aftermarket stuff on it?
Say the majority of it's stock. It's got Nerf bars on it. It's got a pipe on it. It's got I want to say it's got a front end on it, but for the most part, it's more stock.
Okay. Okay. So if you get to spin many laps on that?
Yeah, the last time I rode it, kind of got some PTSD. The throttle stuck on me, and I launched a wall jump, and the Nerf bars don't have the back part that wraps up like the heel guards to keep your feet in. So as soon
Right.
as I landed, my feet went down and the tires sucked them up. I felt like I was going to get ripped in half. So I haven't really rode it since, but it's fun when the throttle doesn't stick.
So what do you think about running one of the updated versions, like the aftermarket frame 250Rs that are all decked out for motocross?
It was it was last year. Um, Noah Mickelson took one out at Loretta's, and that thing ripped. It sounded sick. It looked sick. I wanted to ask more questions about it. I just didn't really see him that weekend, but I really want to ride a decked out one at least once on a motocross track to see how it feels. But it really reminds me of the way the JB frames are. Like, you don't have to brake tap nearly as much because the weight's more distributed. Like, it's equaled out. It kind of levels itself out in the air to where you don't have to. And I really like that about the JBs and the 250R.
That's cool that you've been able to ride quite a few different machines like that. I hope you get a chance to ride one of those motocross 250Rs. I think it would be really cool, you know.
I think it would too.
Excellent, excellent. Mason, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I'm so glad that we got to get this in. I've really enjoyed talking with you and been watching you. I'm looking forward to your sophomore season. In everything that I've done, the sophomore season is generally the roughest season for most people in, whether it be football or racing or whatever you're doing, it's that second season that really kicks you in the butt. Um, I don't necessarily think or get that vibe from you that it's going to be. Um, but after coming off of fifth in points in your rookie season, the expectation from the guys on the sidelines like myself are a little higher for you. So we're going to expect the same or better. So I don't want to put pressure on you, but there's a lot of people got their eyes on you.
Yeah, that was one of the things with finishing as good as I did was now it's expected. So, and that was part of the pressure in the pro-am was I felt like I was expected to do good. So there was always that feeling in the back of my head of if I don't do good, I there's no reason I shouldn't be doing really good right now. And every time I wasn't, I'd always just be down harder on myself than I should have been. But the pressure is a big thing. So I think I've had a year to get used to the pressure, and hopefully I deal with it a little better 2025. But yeah, it's been awesome talking to you.
Well, I appreciate it again. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter